All right, hello everyone. We are presenting our project on behavior change, but first we're going to introduce our group members.
Hi, I'm Alexandra Rippey. I am a lead ABA therapist in the school district, and this is my second year at Ball State University. I hope to graduate next May. I also have a son who's moderate functioning autism, and so this is obviously all very interesting for me. And I hope to sit for the BCBA, hopefully next August.
Hi everyone, I'm Ashley Ferentz. I currently am in my third year working as a ABA therapist in a classroom setting. My goal is to graduate from Ball State next summer in 2019.
Hi everyone, I'm Jennifer Casa. This is my second semester at Ball State. I currently am at RBT at an in-center RBA ABA place. I'm hoping to graduate next summer, and I want to sit for the BCBA exam in August, and then if that doesn't go well, then in November as well.
Hi everyone, I'm Danielle Rowland. I work in special education at an elementary school, and I plan to sit for my BCBA exam in the fall of 2020.
Hey everyone, I'm Matthew Stam. I've been at Ball State for about 2 years now, and I work at a private school in Maryland where I'm a 2-to-1 ABA therapist.
All right, so for our project, we focused on an issue faced by many Americans today, which is being overweight and the issue of obesity. Our literature researched different ways to increase physical activity to hopefully decrease the risk of health problems associated with obesity. So for the first study done in 2006 by Odgkin et al., entitled The Prevalence of Overweight and Obesity in the United States of America, it was shown that there is an actual obesity and weight gain epidemic in this country. Obesity continues to be a leading public health concern in the United States, and the study also showed that 32.2% of adults aged 20 years or older are obese. In the next study, done in 2003 by Burke et al., entitled The Effect of Electronic Self-Monitoring on Weight Loss and Dietary Intake, a Randomized Behavioral Weight Loss Trial, it was found that technology was a helpful tool for adhering to self-monitoring to accomplish those weight loss goals for their participants. This study included a digital assistant and feedback to increase physical activity, which really did show that technology and feedback may increase the rates of self-monitoring and goal setting for these participants to increase physical activity. The next study, done by Manzi et al. In 2015, investigated the effect of a 3-month workplace-based pedometer-driven walking program on health-related quality of life in a meat processing worker factory. This was a 3-month study, and it was conducted to test the effects of increasing daily step counts and wearing a pedometer while receiving feedback. And like I said, it was used in a meat plant factory for the employees. So in this study, there were 2 groups. One was the control group, which throughout these 3 months of this study, they were just given educational material, pamphlets, research studies, and the like. The second group was the intervention group, and those participants were wearing a pedometer, they were participating in goal setting, and they were given encouragement. In this study done in 2015, results did show that the mean daily step count for the intervention group increased by 3,799 steps. So this did show that pedometers and tracking daily step counts can be used to increase physical activity. In 2017, Wang et al. Conducted a study entitled Short-Term Effects of Social Encouragement on Exercise and Behavior. In this study, participants engaged every day on a social networking site called Wanbu to receive encouragement on their daily activity. Daily step counts for the participants who engaged in social interactions on this site about their daily step counts did actually increase. So the main finding did support that social interactions can help increase an individual's exercise level and is consistent with previous research. The next study done in 2016, according to Otero and Hott, self-monitoring and tracking progress towards a specific goal, such as increasing physical activity, can be effective in a desired outcome. And this study did show that self-monitoring in general can be used for a lot of different things, such as attention, academics, time on task or work completed in a given time, and it actually can be used with any and all ages, abilities, and settings. In 2010, Weber et al. Conducted a study entitled Motivation and Its Relationship to Adherence to Self-Monitoring and Weight Loss in a 16-Week Internet Behavioral Weight Loss Intervention. So in this study, phases of feedback were done and implemented throughout the study, whether it be face-to-face feedback or internet and technological feedback. So this study did include that high levels of motivation from feedback really did increase that self-monitoring behavior. Tying it all together, our literature review. Throughout our literature review, we did find that weight gain and obesity is an epidemic in this country. These problems can lead to heart disease, diabetes, and a lot of other health problems. Motivation, self-monitoring, and technological feedback can really be effective interventions to increase physical activity in hopes to decrease the risk for obesity and weight gain. Our studies also supported the intervention of pedometers and tracking daily step counts, and also the social encouragement aspect of increasing physical activity. Tying it all together brings us to our original study, Increasing Physical Activity Through Self-Monitoring, Goal Setting, and Feedback by Norman, done in 2008. Here's our abstract. Excess body weight, especially obesity, is a problem of increasing social significance, and weight gain is often correlated with age. Because physical activity can both decrease current body weight and prevent weight gain, it is an especially suitable target for behavioral intervention. A package intervention consisting of self-monitoring, goal setting, and feedback was used to increase the physical activity of healthy adults. A combined multiple baseline and reversal design was arranged to evaluate the effects of the intervention on the number of steps taken each day by participants, as recorded by a pedometer. The intervention increased the number of steps taken across participants, but there were no changes in participant body weight during the intervention. The results suggest that a relatively simple and low-cost intervention can be used to increase the physical activity of some adults. So in the original study done by Norman in 2008, it does state that excess weight is a risk factor for heart disease, stroke, arthritis, hypertension, certain types of cancer, breathing problems, and type 2 diabetes. It also does state that increased physical activity, such as increased daily step counts, could help prevent excess weight gain. So an intervention package was implemented in this study to increase the daily step counts of the participants. The intervention package consisted of self-monitoring, feedback, and setting goals while wearing a pedometer. In this study, there were 4 participants, and it was done with permanent product recording system. The baseline phases were blind to participants, so they could not see the recording of steps. The pedometer was masked. And during the intervention phases, reliability and progress checks, along with encouragement, were present. The encouragement consisted of progress graphs, visual graphs of their daily step count progress, and words of encouragement such as "keep up the good work." The original study was a multiple baseline ABAB reversal design, meaning the intervention package was implemented, removed, and then implemented again. The results showed that all participants had increased step counts during intervention phases, decreased step counts during baseline 2, and increased step counts during intervention 2. The purpose of our study is to replicate the Norman 2008 study that focused on increasing physical activity in adults using a specific intervention package. This intervention package consisted of goal setting, self-monitoring, and feedback.
And here's our abstract. A common barrier to one's health is a decrease in activity, thus leading to weight gain and other physical ailments. In the article by Matthew P. Norman in 2008 titled Increasing Physical Activity Through Self-Monitoring, Goal Setting, and Feedback, an intervention package was created and implemented to increase physical activity amongst 4 adults. The intervention package consisted of self-monitoring daily steps, setting goals for steps taken, and providing feedback to participants. The treatment successfully increased the number of daily steps taken across the participants. In present, this study attempted to replicate the findings of Normand using the same intervention package. Treatments were implemented across 5 participants. Results indicated that the intervention package increased the steps for 4 out of 5 participants between baseline and the first intervention. These results suggest that being aware of how many steps are taken can increase the average step count, and therefore adults can become more active. Participants were selected through a group replication assignment in which all individuals want to increase their daily steps to improve their physical health. The participants were 4 females and 1 male. They range from the ages of 24 to 32, and all were physically capable of increasing their daily steps through walking. All participants lived in environmental settings that supported outdoor activities. As far as materials, the participants in this group replication study used the health application on the iPhone, which we all had access to. All materials included iPhone, cellular device, the health app, Google Doc to track data, iPhone used for screenshots of daily step counts for IOA. For the behavior definition, the target behavior steps. Our study will use the same operational definition as used in Normand study. The steps were operationally defined as any activity that resulted in a count being recorded and displayed on the pedometer. For the purpose of this study, pedometer in the behavioral definition was considered to be the health app. The permanent product recording was the iPhone app and daily step count, which was a 24-hour period. We use an A-B reversal design, which is across multiple participants, baseline 1, intervention 1, and baseline 2, intervention 2.
Okay, so during the baseline 1 phase, the data was masked. This means that participants could not monitor their own step count during this phase. Instead, data was sent all at once to the experimenter after 4 days were completed. If it was determined that their data was stable, the participant would move to intervention 1. If the data was not stable, they had to complete another 3 days of baseline data. We determined data to be stable if their range was less than 50% of the average steps per day. So for example, Matt's average for baseline 1 was 10,681 steps. His difference in range from max to minimum was 4,073. So 50% of his average would have been 5,340 steps. And because because the range was less than that value, we considered his data to be stable. Here's the data table for all 5 participants during baseline 1, including the average and range. You can see that Matt and I only had to complete 4 days of baseline 1 before entering the intervention phase, but Alexandra, Ashley, and Jenny needed to complete another 3 days to obtain stable data. Once baseline 1 was completed, the experimenter would set individualized goals for each participant at the start of intervention 1. This goal would be just a 10% increase from their average steps from the previous baseline data. The participants were then encouraged to self-monitor their step count in order to reach or pass their goal. Text and graphic feedback were also provided by the experimenter after day 3 was completed. Text feedback would consist of praise or encouragement to continue striving for their goal, while graphic feedback included a single time series graph of their data, a goal line, and comments on its general trend. This entire phase lasted 7 days for everyone. Here's the data collected from the 5 participants during intervention phase, including average and range, and also what their goal was for this phase. Baseline 2 marked the return to baseline after the completion of intervention 1. Therefore, data was then masked again, and participants were not allowed to monitor their steps. The average from this data set were then used to create the new goals for intervention 2. This phase was supposed to last 4 days, but due to time constraints, only 2 participants completed all of baseline 2. The other 3 participants completed only 2 of the 4 days of data. Because of those time constraints, the data table for baseline 2 has very limited data. However, the average and range were still calculated based off of the data that was obtained. Intervention 2 followed the completion of baseline 2. New goals were calculated based on the previous data set, and again, participants were encouraged to self-monitor. Text and graphic feedback were supposed to be provided by their experimenter after day 3. However, due to a previously mentioned time constraint, only 2 participants entered the intervention 2 phase, and 0 participants made it past day 2 of that phase. Because of this, the data table for intervention 2 has very limited data, and therefore no inferences or conclusions can really be made about this specific data set.
As far as IOA goes, due to the use of permanent product recording through screenshot images of daily steps taken, IOA recording methods needed to be adjusted. 2 inter-observers were dedicated to viewing all screenshots to ensure that the steps were taken and recorded accurately into the data collection. There was an agreement on all recorded intervals of daily steps taken due to the permanent product image. Therefore, there was a 100% agreement. And basically, the fact that we were using permanent product made this very easy as far as basically we had 2 people that would come, and as long as they agreed on the screenshot they were seeing, that was an agreement. So because of permanent product, it was very clear to decipher whether or not there was an agreement. So luckily we had 100%. Treatment fidelity. Timing and unstable baseline caused 3 participants to not meet the criteria to begin the intervention phase, which will also be discussed in limitations. Treatment integrity was at a high level for the 2 participants who did complete intervention. The intervention was precisely implemented as intended. The results are clear for interpretation. Participants did not need training on implementation of the intervention due to the permanent product recording through cellular data of steps taken. And again, we all know how to use our phones. So I know a lot of studies, the observers have to be trained, the participants have to be trained. This was very, it was easy to make sure that that was being covered. The clear and concise behavior of steps taken reduced the potential for confounding variables. In conclusion, the results of our study were similar to that of our original study by Normand in 2008. Receiving feedback and encouragement increased daily steps for 4 out of the 5 participants from baseline to the first intervention. While we didn't calculate weight loss, all participants reported that they believed the self-monitoring and feedback helped keep them accountable. Therefore, more steps were taken. These results suggested that a low-cost, unobtrusive intervention such as walking can be used to increase physical activity of healthy adults. All right, we're gonna have to start over. I'm so sorry.
No, I mean, it's safe because if Jenny's not saying anything, and if she came in like the last slide, it just looks bad.
Yeah. What is going on?
That sucks so bad.
What we could potentially do is download this, and I can find a way to edit it. We do another recording just starting at Jenny.
Oh, here comes now. Here's Jenny now.
All right, let's try again.
It's all right. Let's do it again. We can do it one more time.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna send a new link.
Okay, Danielle, I'm sorry about your starting one.
Thank you for doing it.
But is
I was on a roll and I was like, oh my God. Okay.
It was beautiful. I was just gonna let it go.
all right, I'm gonna cancel this and I will. Hold on, she's not, is it even working?
No, she said it won't open.
I'm texting now, we're starting over, setting a new link.
I know, but hold on.
And a new link.
Her screen is black, so like, is it gonna work?
No, she's right there.
I can't see her.
You can't? I can.
I can't.
Okay, I'll send a new link.
Okay.
All right, new link coming. Okay. IOA, due to the permanent product recording through screenshot images of daily steps taken, IOA recording methods needed to be adjusted. 2 inter-observers were dedicated to viewing all screenshots to ensure that the steps were taken and recorded accurately into the data collection. There was an agreement on all recorded intervals of daily steps taken due to the permanent product image. Therefore, there was a 100% agreement. The fact that we were using permanent product made this really easy to implement when considering IOA because, you know, the proof is in the pudding. So basically the 2 observers just had to look and both agree on the same image that was being presented on the phone. So yeah, 100% agreement. Treatment fidelity. Timing and unstable baseline caused 3 participants to not meet the criteria to begin the intervention phase, and that's also discussed in limitations. Treatment integrity was at a high level for the 2 participants who did complete the intervention. The intervention was precisely implemented as intended. The results are clear for interpretation. Participants did not need training on implementation of the intervention due to the permanent product recording through cellular data of steps taken. Again, in most studies, we have to train the observers, train the participants, but luckily everyone knows how to use an iPhone. Everyone knew how to use this app. The clear and concise behavior of steps taken reduced the potential for confounding variables as well.
In conclusion, the results of our study were similar to that of our original study by Normand. Receiving feedback and encouragement increased daily steps for 4 out of the 5 participants from baseline to the first intervention. While we didn't calculate weight loss like they did in the original study, all participants reported that they believed the self-monitoring and feedback helped them keep accountable, and therefore more steps were taken. These results suggest that a low-cost, unobtrusive intervention such as walking can be used to increase physical activity of healthy adults. Okay, so I broke down each graph into its own separate slide. So first is Alexandra. Her average for baseline was 3,070 steps. For the first intervention, it was 2,390 steps. For her second baseline, it was 3,470 steps, and she didn't make it to intervention 2. And she was one participant who didn't increase from baseline to the first intervention. So she was the 1 out of 5 that didn't. Okay, next is Ashley. Her average for the first baseline was 3,905 steps. For intervention 1, she had 4,183 steps. For baseline 2, she had 3,209, and she as well did not make it to intervention 2. Next is myself. My first baseline, my average was 3,445 steps. For intervention number 1, my average was 4,078 steps. For baseline 2, I had 2,784 average steps, and I also did not make it to intervention 2. Next, we have Matt and Danny. They both made it to intervention 2. But for Matt's first baseline, his average was 10,681 steps. For intervention 1, his average was 11,791. For his second baseline, he had 3,852 steps. And for second intervention, he had 4,653 steps. And next we have Danny. She also made it to intervention 2. Her average step for baseline 1 was 6,788 steps. For intervention 1, she had 8,899 steps. For baseline 2, she had 3,245 steps. And for her intervention 2, she had 157. So after doing a visual analysis, our results indicate that there is a functional relationship displayed, even though it is small. So from baseline 1 to intervention 1, we did have a functional relationship, which is awesome. So just proves that the feedback and encouragement helped us take more steps, which is awesome. So this table 5 shows what I just read off for each phase and each participant. And here is our full graph for the multiple baseline design across the participants, all 5, and shows that the Matt and Danny are the only 2 that made it to intervention 2.
Okay. There was limitations in the original study and our study. The limitations in the original study was the group was very small, only had 3 males and 1 female, and it's just a very small sample size for this. Both men and women have different body compositions and metabolism. With such a small sample, the study is not balanced. All participants were middle-aged, healthy, and not obese, and regular exercisers. The term healthy was also not defined, nor was any scientific documentation provided that the participants were healthy according to a doctor. No definition of regular exercise was given, so the fact that the participants said they were regular exercisers is very subjective. The study only included middle-aged adults, but no information was given as to whether age groups applied and were rejected, or whether the study wanted only middle-aged adults. The recruitment method was by posters in the community and word of mouth. This is a limited sample size because recruitment was limited to a certain area and word of mouth, which can be unreliable because not all the requirements may have been accurately given. Setting a daily step requirement was a limitation. Circumstances could occur whereby a participant could not get in all the daily steps they had to. There was also no incentive in the program attached to the feedback. Incentives often enhance the performance. Our study also had some limitations. First, we only had 4 females and 1 male. Again, this is a small sample size, so it's very unbalanced. The only criterion was to be a member of the Ball State graduation class 611. We also did not give daily feedback. We use the iPhones to keep track of our steps. And this is a limitation because we could easily forget our cell phone for whatever reason, whether it's to wash our hands, make lunch, whatever it might be. Not all of us made it to intervention 2. There was no health data collected for all of us, and all schedules are different too. Some of us work multiple jobs, so we are up and about more than everyone in this group, and some people are on vacation. So that when you're on vacation, sometimes you're just lounging on the beach or the pool, and you may not be walking nearly as much. And this is all of our references for our presentation.